This is the WEEI Afternoon Show. I'm Christian Arkin. That's Andy Hart. Nice to have you with us here today. It's been a tough couple of weeks here for the Red Sox. Really, it's been tough since the break. These last few, though, the getting swept by Arizona at home, on your way to getting swept by the Blue Jays, who suck. Barrios was pitching yesterday. They always hit Barrios. Didn't matter. The offense has gone silent. It seems like the Red Sox here, with a month to go left in the season, currently circling the drain. Are they giving up, Andy? Do you think this is a team that is resigned to their fate? Do you think it's a team that has given it all they have and they just realize, we're not good enough?
I think the latter part. I don't think it's something that's in front of mind. It's more back of mind.
Right.
Because they probably all, as much as when you're hot, you're hoping, we are this good. You're probably a little bit of your human nature. It's like, can we sustain this? Are we really going to keep up? We don't really have an ace in terms of a pitching staff. The lineup.
House been pitched like an ace, but he's only 8-8. The team doesn't score for him. So.
But no disrespect to him, he's Tanner Houck. That name doesn't carry weight. That name doesn't have a history, a track record, a resume where you just know, well, when that guy pitches, we got a horse, we got Clemens, we got whoever.
Coming into the season, we didn't think that. I feel that way about him now, though.
Yeah, I don't. No. I still think he fits in line with everybody else on this team, where the future might be very bright for a lot of these guys. They have laid a foundation. I know this gets back to a column that Chris Gasper wrote about, is the season already a success regardless of what happens?
Right.
Which now is really being shown that that's the reality. The season has kind of reached its finality. You're not going to make the playoffs. You're an also-ran. Did you do enough at the deadline? Whatever. You developed young player.
No, the answer is no, by the way.
See, I think it's yes. And I'm going to use
at the deadline?
Oh, they didn't do enough. No,
okay.
No.
My answer was no to that question.
What about, is the season a success?
No, I'd say no to that, too.
See, I would say yes.
I can't call it a success when they crap their pants in August again.
I know, but I had very low expectations for this team. I took the under.
You didn't think anything was going to be different the way it started off the first 3 months? You didn't think the season would be different?
Beforehand. My expectations going into the season. Then all of a sudden, you're like, do they have something? Me being a cynic was like, nah, it's early. This will peter out. And it didn't. They sustained it longer than I thought they would. So using the guy we just talked about, Gerard Mayo and the Patriots, remember his description of what success was in his pre-training camp press conference? Laying a foundation for the future, figuring out the guy, like whatever the words were, I feel like the Boston Red Sox were a success in a Gerard Mayo rebuild. And you have Jarren Duran that you now say, no, he's just good. He's the All-Star MVP. He's really good. You have Devers. You have Casas back. Rafaela has made himself a guy, a dude, whatever you want to say.
All those guys are lefties, by the way.
Okay, but they're good.
I know they're good, but you needed some right-handed power, and you just
got now
Danny
you're getting
Jansen
into the details and how you fine-tune a team. Prior to this year, I didn't think there was a foundation. I didn't think there was a foundation to the pitching staff.
This was a playoff team this year. They were a playoff team. They were in the wild card. They were there. They just had to protect it, and they didn't. I'm not going to hand-wave that away.
Not when it mattered.
Yes, when it mattered.
Right now, they're not doing exactly what it mattered.
Since then, they've fallen apart. They were, leading into this, before the break, were a playoff team. They were in the mix. They still technically are. They're the first team back. They're still ahead of Seattle and Detroit and these other also-ran teams. They're all sort of falling down by the wayside right now. But that's not what they were all year. All year, they've been right there. They've been right there in the mix. They were close to the top of the AL East this year.
It's the longest season. Whatever people tell me, I've always hated this. I think I actually mocked you when I filled in this time slot previously. If the playoffs started today, they don't start in June. They don't ever start in June or July, assuming we never have weird pandemics or things again.
So they should just suck in August every year then?
No.
Because it's such a long season.
The next step is laying a foundation in April, May, and June that you take advantage of in August and September, because you can lose a season early.
They traded Mookie Betts for prospects 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay? So how long do we have to lay this foundation for?
The first couple of years, there was no foundation. I didn't feel a foundation. All I was sold was Marcelo Mayer was really good, and now he's hurt again, and I have concerns. But luckily, they've repackaged and remarketed, and now we have this fabulous foursome or whatever down in Worcester.
That was Chaim Bloom's job, was to come in here and lay a foundation.
He didn't.
Yes, he did. I mean, he did. Most of these prospects are his guys.
That's why he's not here.
He
was
not
fired.
Here he wouldn't trade Chris Sale. That's why
he's not here, because it was not going anywhere. And now it feels like it's. Do you not believe it's going somewhere now?
Sure.
Okay.
But it's the same result as when Chaim Bloom was here right now. And Chaim Bloom is the one, and not just him, Dombrowski. There's a lot of Dombrowski guys there, too.
A lot of Dombrowski.
But Chaim Bloom was given the same handcuffed restrictions that Breslow's getting right now, so I don't really think it's going anywhere.
So you don't feel better about this team today than you did at this time last year?
Not if they're not going to spend in the offseason, and not if they're not going to do anything at the deadline.
Ifs. I don't even care about the ifs.
But that's what
they
they're
already have a
do.
stronger foundation in the manager who has decided he wanted to stay.
It's the same manager as the last 5 years.
Oh, but you don't like it?
No, I'm just saying, what's the difference?
Last year, he was a lame duck manager.
So?
Now he's here for the foreseeable future.
And?
So I feel good about that.
Okay.
And they have guys that I now believe.
They signed him to the extension and then fell apart. Like, why do you feel good about that?
Because they're not that good. They're not good enough. They don't have a quality pitching staff to go out there night in and night out, in my opinion. They need a top-of-the-rotation guy. Because if you make Tanner Houck your 2, they're kind of like the Patriots wide receivers. Tell me they're competitive, but there's no 1. If you put a 1 out there and make Houck your 2, and now Bayo just kind of slides into, I'm going to learn on the fly as a young guy. Who knows? Maybe I'm an ace down the road. But I feel light years better about this team now than I did a year ago. I could not have cared less about them a year ago because I thought it was over.
I like that there's young players getting better. I'm encouraged about Duran. I think that there's things to like about this team.
Do you like that Worcester now has guys that are like a step away? They've continued to develop?
Not really. I mean, that doesn't really make much difference to me.
Why?
If they can come out and play in the major leagues, fine. Marcelo Mayer's been here a long time. Gunnar Henderson, all the other people in that
Barry
draft
Bonds?
are playing right now. They're playing on their teams. They're in the majors already.
Forget
Him
about
being in
that.
Worcester doesn't really get me all that excited.